Welcome, everyone. I'm very excited about this, and I am thrilled to talk to you about this subject. Well, multiple subjects. So we will get started first with an inclusion strategy. So you know who I am. I'm Jane. If I've met you before, it's great to see you again. It's great to be in this space with you. So thank you so much for making the time to join. All right. You've probably seen this before, 4-7-8 breathing. If you haven't, you will find strategies like this for young learners in Thrively. But for us, I want us to take a quick look at this. So I want to do 4-7-8 breathing with you in just a moment as a way to transition from what has no doubt been a very hectic day. So what we'll do is we'll exhale completely, and then you will close your mouth, you'll inhale, and you'll inhale to the count of 4, hold your breath for 7, and exhale for 8. And if you look at the beginner tips, right, sit with your back straight, place the tip of your tongue against the ridge, that tissue just behind your upper front teeth, and then you can make a fun noise when you breathe out, if you kind of purse your lips. But okay, so everybody get ready, because I'm going to show you something, and we're going to breathe, we're going to watch it and breathe to it. So we're going to close our mouths, we're going to exhale everything. We're going to close our mouths, we're going to inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Are you ready? Okay, 4, 7, 8. Bear with me while we're loading a Thrively lesson. And here we go. 4. Okay, everybody exhale. 4, 7, 8. Ready? I hope that felt good. So you can see that lesson in Thrively is 2 minutes. We only did a few seconds. So 2 minutes would be a really nice opportunity for your young people to just kind of reset, relax, and we'll take a look at the science behind that brain break in just a minute. But thank you so much. I don't know, I could have just stared at that for definitely for the full 2 minutes. It's so mesmerizing and relaxing. So thank you so much for participating in that. All right. So now what I'd like you to do, you've seen this feelings wheel if you've been here before. I'd like you to take a look at this. This is a resource that's in Thrively. So I'd like you to look here, starting from the inside, working out, or you could pick one. I'll share with you how to do it. And after you've shared how you're feeling, you can put it in the chat. Just say to yourself that you're in. So this is a wonderful strategy to use with young people to go ahead and say exactly how they're feeling. So you can go all around, you can say you're happy and excited and you're busy. You don't have to stay in the colors. You don't have to color in the lines. I'm going to, but you don't have to. Say however you're feeling. So of course, I am feeling happy. I am feeling really peaceful today. I think maybe the jellyfish helped. And I'm very thankful and truly, deeply, deeply thankful as we conclude this year for all of the educators who have supported our young people and their families and their communities, and just have had uncommon strength in this year when their lives were so um, also deeply touched by everything that was happening. So I'm happy, I'm feeling peaceful, I'm feeling thankful, and I am in. So go ahead and do the same. Say how you're feeling, however it is, be honest. When you use this strategy with your learners, please ask them to be honest. Such a great way to start their day. And this is in the Launching the School Year playlist in Thrively, which we may not get to today. There's so much to talk about. So go ahead and put that in the chat. Just get it out there, get it off your chest, and then say I'm in to yourself. Give yourself a high five for showing up today after what has surely been a hectic day. All right. Normally Anita would read them to me, but we're not going to do that today. But go ahead and put them in the chat just so she can get a sense of the room today. All right. Thank you, everyone. So that is the feelings wheel, and you are all here and all in, I am sure. Here are our outcomes for our hour together. We're going to discover how Thrively can help your students calm the central nervous system. We just did that today. We just did that right now. You may not have noticed that, but that's what we did. We're also going to look at how we can help our students understand and express gratitude, and we'll look at the brain science behind gratitude, what that does today, or what expressing gratitude does to the brain. We'll also have your students understand and mirror empathy. We're actually going to look at empathy neurons today, the brain science behind expressing empathy. So we have a lot to do, a lot of exciting things to learn about the brain science behind social emotional learning. So I'm so excited to share these resources with you today. It'll move a little bit fast because there's so much. I couldn't stop going down the rabbit hole. And if you have other suggestions too of things that you've read, please feel free to share them in the chat. So you know who we are if you've been before. If you haven't, we're Thrively. And we have a very strong core belief that every single student comes to the learning environment with strengths, with assets already. So how do we unlock those? How do we use those to ensure that students understand that we know they have talents, that they know they belong, right? That they feel respected and valued, they have contributions to make. Today we're looking on the left at social emotional learning, and we're specifically looking at how, at the brain science behind it, but also then how can Thrively help you operationalize it? So if you are a CTA member, you have free access to Thrively, courtesy of CTA. So I hope that you're taking advantage of that. And if you haven't joined already, you can just go to thrively.com and connect to link your Google account to Thrively. So go ahead and join. If you're a CTA member, there's a promotion code that you will have, and that will give you free unlimited access. Be sure you add your students. If you haven't done it already, you just go to my class. There are a lot of ways to add kids. You can do it through an invite code. That's usually the easiest. If you hadn't had a chance to check Thrively out, and now it's the end of the year, your testing is over, this is a great time to do it. And just go ahead and go to my class, go to actions, add your students, use the invite code, or you can add them manually. If you have younger learners, you may want to do that. But all the information on how to do that is right in the platform. All right, so we just did a brain break, but now let's look at the science behind it and why it really matters. And then I'll show you some resources in our platform that you can use.
Breaks during the school day aren't just downtime. The research shows that well-timed breaks can increase student productivity, creativity, and social skills. In fact, a groundbreaking 2012 study using brain scans revealed that the brain isn't actually at rest when we take breaks. Instead, it's in default mode, a state where the brain works on other tasks crucial to learning, like making sense of complex information, consolidating memories, and finding novel connections. Without breaks, we simply don't learn as well. So, make them frequent. Breaks allow students of all ages to regain focus and are especially important for very young students. One study showed that for elementary kids, several 10-minute lessons were far more effective than fewer 30-minute ones. Plan for repeated pauses throughout the day, fewer as kids get older, and give students time to process their learning. Make them active. Integrating physical activity into your breaks can boost moods, reboot motivation, and improve cognitive functioning. If you can, make time in the day for several quick exercise or movement breaks to help students reset. Make them social. Breaks don't have to be solitary or structured. Giving students time to interact, for example, during an unstructured recess or a planned game, can improve crucial social skills like conflict resolution, collaboration, and group problem solving. Make them creative. Breaks allow kids to use their imagination. Research shows that unstructured play stimulates curiosity and creative thinking. A bonus, the exercise kids get during recess boosts neural connectivity and promotes growth in the hippocampus, the center of learning and memory.
All right, so calming the nervous system. So we know that that stress and trauma can trigger that fight, flight, or freeze mode, and with it resulting in the brain just focusing completely on fleeing that perceived threat. So calming the nervous system is so important. You might, we'll take a look at some resources that we have in the platform. This is for people who like to tweet while you're in webinars. I don't know how you guys do it, but you're super multitaskers. But we're going to be talking about the neuroscience of SEL. Feel free to tweet, and we're at Thrively. All right, so brain breaks at your fingertips in the Thrively platform. So I want to show you what those look like. We have them everywhere from K2 up into high school. So let's take a quick look and see what these look like. So when you have access to Thrively Pro, you're going to see that below where your avatar image will go, you'll see that Pro is active. And as a CTA member, you have free access. So here are warm-ups and brain breaks for middle school. So you can see, and we've got, there's, as you saw, K2, there's high school, there's 3-5, but just take a look at some of these, right? So much fun. We did the jellyfish. You guys will recognize that, relax with the jellyfish. You might want to do a dance or this cup song, or one of my favorites is the blindfolded self-portrait. So much fun to do, allows students to close their eyes. And if you've been in here with me before, we might have done one of these, and it's hilarious too. It's just, but you can close your eyes, draw on an actual piece of paper with an actual pencil. So Thrively encourages you, your students, you're on screen, you're off screen. So we'll take a look at these when you have the opportunity. I know you're going to love them. There's so much in the platform to support that slow computer. Okay, I won't call them, okay, brain breaks. So brain breaks for middle school, brain breaks for elementary, for high school, for K2, 3-5. So many great resources, and don't limit yourselves, right? Go to all, right? You might find something in K2 that would be so much fun to do with high school students. So take a look at all of them, incorporate them into your on-screen, off-screen time this semester, and give them a try. I know for a fact your kids will appreciate it, and I hope you appreciated doing them when we started today. So brain breaks at your fingertips. So we're not just talking about theory, we are, but then how do you put it into practice? And Thrively helps you operationalize all the stuff we're going to talk about today.
Jane, can you show us again how you actually got to that particular piece?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Of course. So I'm in the platform and this is my teacher. There are two places to navigate Thrively. If you hover kind of over your avatar or image, you can go down here to playlists. You can also go across the top, either way. So I'm going to playlist now and I typed in brain. And if I've assigned something, it'll end up in my playlist, or it could also be in the playlist library. So if you just type in the word brain, you should be able to find those playlists. When you get to the playlist, I'll just use this high school one for an example. I can assign that so easily to my students. I can pick the class that I want to assign it to, maybe in my advisory, assign it to all advisory students and say finish, and that playlist then ends up in their dashboard. I can also share it with teachers. If there are teachers in my school that for some reason don't have it, I can share it. I can create a playlist and share that too. All right.
Thank you.
Of course. All right. Now we're going to talk about stress. This is something I know you don't know anything about at all. So let's look at stress. Let's learn a little bit more, and we're going to hear some of the benefits of a very small amount of stress, but definitely the deleterious effects of a lot of stress, which you're familiar with too.
You spend weeks studying for an important test. On the big day, you wait nervously as your teacher hands it out. You're working your way through when you're asked to define ataraxia. You know you've seen it before, but your mind goes blank. What just happened? The answer lies in the complex relationship between stress and memory. There are many types and degrees of stress and different kinds of memory, but we're going to focus on how short-term stress impacts your memory for facts. To start, it helps to understand how this kind of memory works. Facts you read, hear, or study become memories through a process with three main steps. First comes acquisition, the moment you encounter a new piece of information. Each sensory experience activates a unique set of brain areas. In order to become lasting memories, these sensory experiences have to be consolidated by the hippocampus, influenced by the amygdala, which emphasizes experiences associated with strong emotions. The hippocampus then encodes memories, probably by strengthening the synaptic connections stimulated during the original sensory experience. Once a memory has been encoded, it can be remembered or retrieved later. Memories are stored all over the brain, and it's likely the prefrontal cortex that signals for their retrieval. So how does stress affect each of these stages? In the first two stages, moderate stress can actually help experiences enter your memory. Your brain responds to stressful stimuli by releasing hormones known as corticosteroids, which activate a process of threat detection and threat response in the amygdala. The amygdala prompts your hippocampus to consolidate the stress-inducing experience into a memory. Meanwhile, the flood of corticosteroids from stress stimulates your hippocampus, also prompting memory consolidation. But even though some stress can be helpful, extreme and chronic stress can have the opposite effect. Researchers have tested this by injecting rats directly with stress hormones. As they gradually increased the dose of corticosteroids, the rats' performance on memory tests increased at first, but dropped off at higher doses. In humans, we see a similar positive effect with moderate stress, but that only appears when the stress is related to the memory task. So while time pressure might help you memorize a list, having a friend scare you will not. And the weeks, months, or even years of sustained corticosteroids that result from chronic stress can damage the hippocampus and decrease your ability to form new memories. It would be nice if some stress also helped us remember facts, but unfortunately, the opposite is true. The act of remembering relies on the prefrontal cortex, which governs thought, attention, and reasoning. When corticosteroids stimulate the amygdala inhibits or lessens the activity of the prefrontal cortex. The reason for this inhibition is so the fight, flight, freeze response can overrule slower, more reasoned thought in a dangerous situation. But that can also have the unfortunate effect of making your mind go blank during a test. And then the act of trying to remember can itself be a stressor, leading to a vicious cycle of more corticosteroid release and an even smaller chance of remembering. So what can you do to turn stress to your advantage and stay calm and collected when it matters the most? First, if you know a stressful situation like a test is coming, try preparing in conditions similar to the stressful environment. Novelty can be a stressor. Completing practice questions under time pressure, or seated at a desk rather than on a couch, can make your stress response to these circumstances less sensitive during the test itself. Exercise is another useful tool. Increasing your heart and breathing rate is linked to chemical changes in your brain that help reduce anxiety and increase your sense of well-being. Regular exercise is also widely thought to improve sleeping patterns, which comes in handy the night before a test. And on the actual test day, try taking deep breaths to counteract your body's fight, flight, freeze response. Deep breathing exercises have shown measurable reduction in test anxiety in groups ranging from third graders to nursing students. So the next time you find your mind going blank at a critical moment, take a few deep breaths until you remember ataraxia, a state of calmness, free from anxiety. Check out these videos to learn how stress affects your brain and your body.
So some of the resources in Thrively can support you as you're helping students understand and learn how to manage stress or prevent stress. So if you look from the kind of left to the right, there are lessons in stress management, which I'll show you. You'll see that jellyfish again. I'm just really into that today. And then also this yoga for kids. She talked about movement and that being very important as well. So I'll show you where that is. And then of course, in launching the school year, we've got some great resources. So let's take a look at some of these. Let's take a look at this brain break for little ones on a little yoga break. So these, again, you've seen the Brain Breaks playlist. That's where this lives. All right, so yoga for kids. We're not going to watch the whole thing, of course. We have a lot to think about today, but just to give you a sense. So it's a little video.
Hi, it's Leslie Fightmaster, and welcome to Kids Yoga.
These kids are going to do all kinds of
Your
things.
head is just hanging in between your arms.
They're going to do downward dog. They're going to do cat cow. These are 10 minutes, 10-minute brain breaks. So important to get everybody moving. There are movement. There's breathing. There's movement in all of these. Also, if you look at the launching the year, even though I know we're concluding the year, but I'd love for you guys to take a look at the launching the school year playlists. And I think I had the 3 through 5 up. Because in this, the one that I would recommend as we're thinking about stress management is going into self-management. So how do our emotions affect our brain, right? What does self-management even mean? And then have students learned to do grounding techniques so that they can prevent stress. So take a look when you have a chance. These are all in the launching the year. You'll also find in launching the year, my favorite feelings wheel right here. Not only are you helping your learners understand how to articulate their emotions, you know, this can be very difficult for all of us, even adults. I don't know about you, but I find it difficult. But we're also increasing their academic vocabulary, giving them a language to talk about themselves, right? And when they can communicate how they're feeling, that's also anxiety reducing. It's so frustrating when we can't explain how we feel. So that is also, again, in the launching the year. And there's a launching the year for K2 all the way up to high school. Right. And individual lessons. Let me show you that. Actually, I don't want to have to load that again. So how you find individual lessons in Thrively is by going here to your navigation to lessons. And you'll find those, that particular one here. We were not going to search through the whole thing, but you'll find it in life skills. So if you go to lessons, so there are playlists. Remember that playlists are a series of lessons. In launching the school year, we saw that we had a number of lessons, right? We had 10 lessons here. That's a playlist. A playlist is comprised of multiple lessons, and lessons are individual. And I can go and select any of these that I'm interested in. Okay, don't forget, I can go to assign to students, and I can grab the link and I can put that into their Google Classroom, right? Or I can do this synchronously too, as we did. Alrighty. So lots of resources in the platform to support students in stress reduction. We know the long-term effects of stress and on memory are pretty staggering. So we want to make sure that doesn't happen. Here's a picture of the brain. Now we're going to talk about gratitude and what that does to the brain. All right, so expressing gratitude, what brain science tells us, right? So of course we know it's probably evident that there's a growing body of evidence that it's of course a key element for sparking positive and sustained changes in your well-being just through practice, but there are a lot of brain effects as well. So let's look at what those are. What are the effects of gratitude on the brain? And then we'll look at some gratitude resources in Thrively.
Back in ancient Rome, the philosopher Cicero described gratitude as the mother of all virtues. This concept of being thankful has been stressed in religion and philosophy for a long time. Back in 1820, Scottish philosopher Thomas Browne defined gratitude as that delightful emotion of love to him who has conferred a kindness on us. But scientifically, gratitude doesn't qualify as a basic emotion like joy, sadness, or anger. There's no universal facial expression for it. As an emotion, gratitude is a little hard to define. Today, the Oxford Dictionary defines gratitude as the quality or condition of being thankful, the appreciation of an inclination to return kindness. And we've only really started to study gratitude scientifically in the past 30 years. In a 2015 study, participants were asked to imagine how they would feel if a complete stranger saved their life. I mean, how would you feel? The participants had to rate how grateful they were to strangers who provided them with gifts of food or clothing, or while they had their brains scanned in an fMRI machine. Researchers found their ratings of gratitude positively correlated with activity in brain areas associated with fairness and value judgments. It makes sense because gratitude is often thought of as a moral emotion. There are even benefits in just noting how grateful you are. Another study asked people to write down 3 things that went well that day and why for 1 week. At the end of the week, people were slightly happier than at the beginning, and over time, their happiness scores kept improving. After 1 month, they were 5% happier, and after 6 months, 9% happier, just from 1 week of writing a journal. A similar study with participants with heart disease found that keeping a gratitude journal increased their heart health and quality of sleep, perhaps because it reduces stress. Counting your blessings quite literally makes people happier and healthier. And some people are even hardwired to be more thankful. In a recent study of 77 couples, those with a particular genetic variation that affects the secretion of oxytocin expressed more gratitude towards their partners. Oxytocin is thought to play a big role in promoting close social bonds, so gratitude is part of the glue that keeps these relationships together. So if you think it's the thought that counts, think again. Science says there's some pretty amazing benefits to our mind, body, and relationships when we say those 2 small words. Thank you.
All right. I know I'm having you watch all these videos, and but I am going to show you in just a moment how to actually implement in Thrively. But I do want to take just a quick listen to Brene Brown on gratitude.
What I found, 12 years of research, 11,000 pieces of data, I did not interview in all that time a person who would describe themselves as joyful or describe their lives as joyous, who did not actively practice gratitude. And for me, it was very counterintuitive because I kind of went into the research thinking that the relationship between joy and gratitude was if you're joyful, then you should be grateful. But it wasn't that way at all. It was really that practicing gratitude invites joy into our lives. And when I say practice, I think this is the part that really changed my life. It changed my family and the way we live every day. When I say practice gratitude, I don't mean kind of like the attitude of gratitude or feeling grateful. I mean practicing gratitude. These folks shared in common a tangible gratitude practice. They either kept gratitude journals. Some of them did interesting things like at 1, 2, 3, 4, like at 12:34 every day, they said something out loud that they were grateful for. They, one of the things that we do, like we say grace at dinner. And so now after grace, we go around and everyone in my family says something they're grateful for. I mean, and what's interesting is when we first started, I have a first grade son, Charlie, and 8th grade daughter, Ellen. And at first I thought, and we've been doing it for a couple of years now, like they're going like, oh God, Mom. And there was a little like, this is, are you experimenting on us? There was a little bit of that. But now what's interesting, even after we did it for like a couple of weeks, that on those crazy busy nights where we're trying to like get to soccer and piano and homework, and Steve and I are just like, we say a quick prayer and we start eating, and my kids are like, whoa, what are you grateful for? And it's been extraordinary because not only absolutely does it invite more joy into our house, it also is such a soulful window into what's going on in my kids' lives.
So what would be wrong with inviting more joy right into our classrooms? And we all, man, boy, do we all need that. And what a wonderful way, I mean, to engage your students. I mean, it's one thing to learn about gratitude. I'll get another lesson, here's a lesson on gratitude. We have those and they're great. But how do we practice it? Like, how do we make that practice simple? And we can do that in the Thrively platform by creating daily journal prompts that ask students to reflect on what they're grateful for. So cultivate, and here's the prompt, cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you, and to give thanks continuously, right? So write about one thing that you're grateful for. I think students would really actually like to see those videos, both the Brene Brown and the brain science one on gratitude. I think they'd find it really interesting. But let me show you guys how you do this in the Thrively platform. Could not be easier. So, we know there are going to be a lot of SEL resources coming your way, but the really important thing is for students not just to consume them as like yet another lesson, but to really engage. So how you do this is you go over to your teacher toolbar, go down to journals, and you can create a journal right here. So how I do it, where are we? All right, I'm just going to go ahead and we'll just create a brand new one. It doesn't matter. So we create a journal, we name it, we write the journal prompt. So I always love an Emerson prompt. I don't know about you guys, but you might have like really fun, much cooler prompts than I would have. So write your journal name. So this is Monday's journal, right? This is Tuesday's journal. And, ask a quick question. And what a great way for students to it, as Brene Brown said, invite joy into their lives. I think it's astonishing. Just a week of keeping a gratitude journal had enduring, lasting effects on people's happiness. So put the prompt here. You can add it to a playlist that you've created in Thrively or not, and add an image. It's always fun to have a nice image, and then save it. And as soon as you do that, sign it to your kids, and they're going to see the journal the journal in their on their dashboard. So the coolest thing is that once they've done it, you can give them a quick little star, right? Just like thank you for having written in your journal. Or let's imagine this is a gratitude journal. Here's what you can do in Thrively, and this is. We talk about this every time in these webinars. So important for your students to hear from you. Yes, you can type, of course, but they want to hear your voice and mostly they want to see your face. So here I go. Hey, thank you so much for talking about what you were grateful for today. I'm grateful for my cat too. At least I have somebody to hang out with. So thank you for sharing your gratitude and keep doing that. I can't wait to hear what you're grateful for tomorrow. Boom. Done. It took me 5 seconds, less actually. You should have timed me. You could tell me how long it took, but probably took less than certainly less than 5 seconds. And your student will get that video recording from you on their dashboard. So cool. So they're sharing what they're grateful for. You're sharing that you're grateful that they're grateful, and also what you're grateful for. What a great thing to do. Maybe, once a week, just pop into the gratitude journal and get to know your students. You heard Brene Brown talking about how she learned so much more about her own children. So imagine what you can do with the students in your classroom. All right, I'm going to come back here. So practice made simple. That's what we try to do with Thrively. You're going to be learning a lot of stuff, I'm sure, in your professional learning and over the summer. So then how do you put it into practice? You learn all these great things. Well, you do it with Thrively. It makes everything easy. One of the lessons in the platform is I am grateful for. So let me show you what a lesson looks like and how students respond to those.
Jane, now where are the journals housed?
Sure. Thank you for asking. So if you go to your teacher toolbar, your primary navigation is here. So you go under the Thrively logo and you'll see where your image will go. And I go down here to journals, right? And I just select journal. Now, the one that I created, I just did for myself at Thrively, my gratitude journal. So it takes really, there are some that are created, but it literally takes just a second to pop a journal in here.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So this is one of the lessons on gratitude in the gratitude starter pack. It has actually multiple lessons in here, but know that gratitude makes you happier. We just learned that from Brene Brown. How do we improve our gratitude? Here's some really cool stuff to look at. And then how it's cool to be kind. Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be awesome if everyone were kind to each other? So lots of ways to reinforce these really important principles in your classroom. Now, know that here too, just as with the journal, your students can respond to a lesson here. And they can respond to a lesson in writing, but they can also respond to a lesson in audio or video. Super important for them because a lot of times our students, they don't prefer to keyboard or type, right? Or write. And so give them a chance to share in audio or video, and then you'll also get a chance to hear their tone. So important to hear the tone. And then again, remember, you can respond back to them in audio or video. Every time a student responds to a lesson in Thrively, it also manifests as a journal, just like the gratitude journal. But everything that a student does in a lesson in the platform ends up here in journal entries, so that you have a very quick and easy way to respond. All right. So you could also create a gratitude goal. There are goals in the platform, and so super easy. Again, just go here to goals, go into goals, and I can explore these. I can create one on my own if I wish to. So maybe at the end of the year, before we're transitioning into the next grade level, maybe we want to have a goal for ourselves as learners so that we're ready for that next opportunity. So here's a goal, deepen gratitude. And in a Thrively goal, we'll usually have things that will support a student so they understand. We'll have a rubric, right? There will be some kind of other resources to help our learners understand, how to achieve that goal. Your learners can also create their own action plans as well. So check out Thrively goals when you have a chance. Consider having your students develop a gratitude goal, grow that gratitude muscle. Why not? That. Alrighty. So you could do a goal on anything. So we've talked already today about empathy, about stress management, right? We took the time to breathe today. right? And we watch those jellyfish and we breathe. Maybe you need to have your students think about that and create a goal around how they're going to manage stress and prevent it, actually. All right, so we've talked about gratitude. We know that it's positively associated with more activity in the hypothalamus, increase your dopamine, improve your sleep, right? People who express gratitude have less anxiety, they have less depression, and less envy. There's an asterisk there, I forgot why, and fewer materialistic attitudes. Oh, they're just less likely to express those things. All right, so lots of benefits of expressing gratitude. All right, now I'm super excited to talk to you about mirror neurons and their relationship to empathy. This is crazy. So let's look at some science. Maybe you've already been checking this out, but how mirror neurons help dissolve barriers between ourselves and others quite physically. So we're going to look at the science behind it. We're going to get right to it because I want to make sure that you are able to listen to this and see the resource that we have in Thrively on mirror neurons for your learners to understand this better or understand it at all.
It sounds astonishing, it sounds psychic, but it isn't. These neurons are called mirror neurons. So the neuron fires when I reach for a cup and when I watch you reach for a cup. So what's a mirror neuron doing? When I saw this paper, it jumped off my seat because it's what the neuron is signaling to the higher areas in the brain is, the higher areas are saying, the same neuron is firing now as would fire when you reach and grab a cup. Therefore, that's what that person is intending to do. It's a mind-reading neuron. It's a neuron that's creating a virtual reality simulation on another person's mind, empathizing with the other person, so to speak, which is the basis of compassion after all. So it allows you to look at the world from the other person's point of view, and temporarily, of course. Now, it's interesting that while you do this, you don't actually leave your body and float out in space and look at another person. Why is that? The reason is the mirror neuron activity is partially inhibited by other signals coming from the frontal lobes, which say, look, empathize, put yourself in that person's shoes, view the world from that person's point of view, but don't literally leave your body. Through practices like meditation, maybe you temporarily suspend that inhibition, so you're able to genuinely adopt another person's point of view, therefore achieve genuine compassion or empathy. There are also mirror neurons in the parietal lobe, posteriorly, in the back of the brain, which are sensory neurons. Some of the sensory neurons will fire if somebody touches your holiness and I'm watching, the neuron fires. So again, it's an empathy neuron. Somebody pokes me with a needle, my anterior cingulate neurons fire, and I say, ouch, and I withdraw my hand. But if somebody pokes you with a needle, some of these same neurons fire, saying, my God, the same thing is happening to him as would happen if somebody were to poke me with a needle. Let me be compassionate, let me be empathetic. But I don't literally feel the pain. When somebody pokes you with a needle, and I partially experience the pain, but I don't literally feel it. That's again because the skin in my hand, the receptors signaling back to the brain, look, you're not being poked, don't worry. Empathize by all means, but don't worry, you're not being poked. So when I watch you being poked, I don't say, ouch, and withdraw my hand. The reason I don't feel your pain when I'm watching it, even though my pain neurons are firing, because my skin is informing the brain, you're not being poked, so don't worry. But if somebody were to amputate my arm, right, then I have a phantom arm, then I watch you being poked, that inhibitory signal from the hand is removed, so now I literally feel the pain, and I say, ouch, and withdraw my phantom. We've actually shown this in a number of experiments. So now I literally start experiencing your pain. So the compassion becomes almost literal, it's no longer metaphorical, simply by removing the skin. The astonishing implication of this is the only barrier between your consciousness and my consciousness, shunyata, the only barrier between your consciousness and my consciousness is my bloody skin. Remove the skin, our minds start blending with each other, and I start experiencing your mental phenomena. So this gives you a genuine scientific basis for phenomena like empathy. It is possible through meditation and through other practices to diminish this inhibition. But then my empathy becomes even greater and develop actual genuine compassion, genuine empathy, something that will be useful during these troubled times in our world.
I don't know about you guys, but this is V.S. Ramachandran. You check it out. It's super, so interesting. And we could certainly use more empathy. We have a lot of resources. I'm going backwards. Sorry. A lot of resources in Thrively to support students in better understanding empathy. In fact, this one that I want to show you actually takes students through a lesson on mirror neurons. There are several lessons that I think you would find really interesting. But this is, you can see this age range. From age 5 to 16, you'll be the judge of the appropriateness of that. I want to share this just briefly, just so you can see what this lesson looks like.
The importance of empathy. We all live in our own version of reality, a reality that is limited by our senses, our temperament, and our own experiences. It is the only reality we will ever truly know. But it is crucial to our personal development, our relationships, and to society itself that we make the effort to try and experience other people's realities as well. This is done through empathy. Simply stated, empathy is an active attempt to understand another person's perspective, their emotions, and in essence, their reality. We are social animals, and our ability to communicate and understand each other's emotional states is key to maintaining our relationships. So it is little wonder that the ability to empathize is hardwired directly into our brains. One area that assists in this process is the right supramarginal gyrus, which helps us to distinguish our own emotional state from that of another person, and plays a key role in our ability to observe and assess what other people are experiencing. Studies from Neuron Science Journal suggest that we have systems of mirror neurons in our brains that cause us to mimic the actions of others. That is why when we see someone yawn, we will often yawn in reply. And when we observe someone experiencing joy or pain, we experience the same sensation to a certain extent. But these reactions are primarily driven by subconscious reflexes. In order to be truly empathic, you have to actively think beyond yourself and your own concerns.
We don't need to watch the whole thing. It gives you an idea. And remember that students can respond here in writing, audio, or video, and just some other really wonderful resources. So how you find these in Thrively is you go to lessons, and you'll see when I go to lessons, I like to use all at all times, because the categories can be limiting. So check out all of them. Go to empathy. When I go to empathy, I see all of these resources, all of these lessons here. And remember, so here's one on using kindness to enrich your lives and others. Here's the one we just looked at, this one on empathy. So if I go here to the gear, this little gear, remember I go here to assign to students, and all I need to do is copy that link and put it in their Google Classroom. I can also create my own playlist. So you guys feel free. Peruse all the incredible lessons in Thrively and curate your own. It really takes like less than a second to create my own playlist. In fact, I'll just do it now. I'm just going to call this CTA 1. I'll call it A CTA so I can find it at the top of the list. Continue. I don't know how long it is. Oh, wait. Skip. Oh, did I? Okay. Oh, I know. We go here, create the playlist, boom, it's done. And Thrively will take me right to my brand new playlist. There's my CTA playlist right there. It's that easy, everyone. Go create your own playlists that support all of the brain science associated with social emotional learning. My playlist lives right here. My brand new CTA playlist that I just created. It's coming. There it is. And I can put as many items as I want to in there. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this one so I don't clutter up this person's account. But easy to do. I just went to lessons, and if you see here, like all of the resources available here, and we talked about empathy, gratitude. There's growth mindset, resilience, mindfulness, so much that you can do to, when you find an area of brain science now that you love, you can go into Thrively and actually make it a reality for your young learners. Active listening, there are a lot of resources on listening and listening with empathy and understanding, and just again, understanding empathy. We could create an empathy goal, and we can talk about that in a minute. I actually want to pop out of here and see what questions you have in our remaining time together. But there are empathy goals that are already in the platform. You could create one yourselves. And expressing gratitude. It's your turn. I'm going to say it's my turn to express my gratitude to you and just to thank each one of you for everything that you do for your communities, for your families, your young people. So I'm going to go ahead and stay here. And Anita, can
Hi,
let me know what
Jane.
questions.
Yes, we
Yeah.
have. No, I think we've actually answered the questions as we were going through it.
Great.
So at this point, I do not see any other questions that have been left open.
Oh, perfect. That gives me more time to share some resources in Thrively with you and show you guys how to Thrively more. But I just cannot emphasize enough, like you go to so many professional learning opportunities and they're wonderful, but it can be really challenging to implement. So just please, check out the Thrively platform. There's so much in here for you. So for here, like for this, I want to go ahead and create a goal, and I can do that easily. So this is I'm going to call this my empathy goal. Empathy grades, K through 3 goal. And when are we going to complete it? We're completing it in June. We want to make sure everybody has empathy before the end of the school year. Let's do it. So I can upload a rubric or criteria chart and an image, and I save it. See how fast that was? That's it. I double click on here, and I can add any resources. Like if I want to put an action plan in, what's the first thing that I want to do for empathy? I want to make sure that I show myself some love. Show yourself some love, right? We're not going to type because I'm a slow typist, but you can say, what are those steps to being empathetic? Well, the first step is you need to love yourself. Hey, what are your Thrively strengths? What's so cool about you? Like, love the fact that you have drive, or you're flexible, or you're verbal, whatever that is in Thrively. Go love that and put it in there. Love all the things about yourself. The next step is, right, to try to love somebody that's maybe a little harder to love, right? Maybe it's your cranky cat, or I have a lot of cat stories, I guess. I've become a cat lady during COVID, I guess. But so what's an action step that you might take to increase your empathy? Go ahead and add that there. We can add media, any presentations, videos, any of the videos that I shared with you today. You could grab that link and you could put that in there for your learners.
Jane,
Yes.
if we actually have, if we're once we sign up, will it create or generate a list of their particular students and drop it into Google for them, or how do they actually do that?
Thank you so much for asking that. So I go to add students. I'm going to go, now this would be empty for you because you wouldn't have had students yet. So I can go here to actions, but I go to my class. I go to actions and I need to add students, right? So I'm going to go to add students. And there are several ways to do it. You can link your Google Classroom, right? You can just import that, no problem. A lot of people love to use the invite code. So you just give your students this link and you will have your own invite code right here. If I go here, I can see where it says welcome, and there you are, Jean, welcome all of you. And you'll have the invite code. I can just, that's what I would give to my students when they log in. It'd say, did your teacher give you an invite code? Yes. What is it? Put it in there. The other way to do it is to add students through your school. Every school has a unique URL. You could do that and create a password for every student. This is going to take longer for everybody. I recommend the invite code, but you can do it this way too. All right, lots of ways, lots of ways. If you've got a bunch of students and you are, say you're a high school teacher and you've got a lot, maybe we'd want to do a bulk upload. If you've got 180 kids that you want to try this with before the end of the year. And if you do, please reach out to me, Jane at Thrively, so we can make sure that you have that opportunity. If you have the free CTA account, I want to make sure that you get enough seats, as many seats as you need. All right.
Great.
Other thoughts or questions? No? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just so you know, this is your navigation. You can create your empathy goal, grab a playlist that looks like fun, right? I recommend launching the school year. Whatever you want, go look through the playlist library, see what's available to you, assign it to students through this little gear It's super easy to do. There are projects in Thrively. There's so much for you to explore. Those of you who have special students with IEPs, starting right in 7th grade as they start that transition plan. If you're interested in the IEP transition plan project, let me know and I'll make sure that you get that. But there are lots of others in here. Finish with my fight song. This is a great project for students right now who've endured so much. They're so strong. What is their fight song? Have them try this project. Tons of great stuff for young people to do. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and come out of my share screen and just thank everybody. Thank you so much, Anita. Thank you for including me today.
Thank you so much. And thank you for those of you that joined us today. And again, if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out. We'd be happy to kind of answer anything that you might have. And again, if you're interested in finding out more about Thrively, you can go to thrively.com, or you could also go to our website and actually find all of the archived previous Thrively videos that we've done for this series. Oh, we've hold on a couple. There's a thank you. So that's not a question. That's thank you.
And you can reach out to me too. So feel free to email me.